At the moment, in my studio, I'm working on moonjars. I'm making round moon-shaped vessels based on Korean moonjars. Round and white, characterized by their resemblance to a full moon, unique to the Joseon dynasty. So this is not a video about moonjars, it's about making a moonjar. So let's get started. The first question that arises for me is one piece or two. Traditionally, moonjars are made in two pieces. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm not using porcelain today. I'm using a fine white mid-fire clay. For each moonjar, I've prepared 2 pieces of clay. Each piece of clay is approximately 1.5 kilos. I start by centering the first piece of clay. So I push down into the clay and open up as I would for a bowl. Now I pull the walls up. I need the walls to be just a little over the midpoint of the height of my moonjar. This time coming up, I bring the rim out a little further. And now I shape the base, much like making a very rounded bowl. I keep on compressing the rim. I want the rim to be very even and a little thicker than I would normally want on a bowl. So now I trim around the base. And I measure the top of the bowl. I measure from the outer edge to the outer edge. And then I wire through and set aside the base. So now I'm ready to make the top. And so while I'm throwing the top, I like to have the base in front of me so I can refer back to the shape. So this is pretty much a repeat of throwing the base, except for a few points. Often in traditional moonjars, the base foot is a little narrower than the top opening or the neck. I'm also not making a perfectly spherical round jar. I want a little tension in the shape, so I'm going to make the top a little more of an open form. I also haven't left any clay in the base. That is where the opening of the moonjar is going to be. If you struggle to make larger bowls without them collapsing, check out my video on making larger bowls. It explains some of the pitfalls to avoid. So now that I've finished shaping, I measure to make sure that it's actually the right width for the base. And now I trim around the base. And I'm ready to wire through. So I set aside to dry. Don't forget to cover the rim. Now let's see if it fits. Perfect. So now I'm ready to trim a foot ring on the base. Now thinking about this, I could actually join the moonjar together first and then trim the base. But I didn't really think of that, so I'll stick with this plan for now. I'm just trimming a simple foot ring. I trim on the outer side of the foot ring first. And then I integrate the foot ring with the outer curve of the base. And now I start to carve the inner part of the foot ring. And now I gently smooth the foot ring. Okay, we're ready to join the top to the base. So I need to scratch the top edge of the base all the way around. And then I do the same around the edge of the top. I add plenty of slip to both the top of the base and the underside of the top. Now I place the top onto the base, just adjust the position, give it a little jiggle, and I'm ready to blend. I like to use a little wooden blending tool for this, and I just work my way around, blending a little of the clay from the top into the bottom. This takes a little while, but it's worth doing well. For the inside, I take a longer tool and work my way around the inner join. So this is where the practicality of having a larger top opening comes into play. It really means I can still work on the inside of the vessel as I join. And now supporting the inside, I gently smooth the outside and just very slightly trim the profile. I'm not too worried about the middle join showing here. I've come to enjoy the middle part of a moonjar where the two pieces are joined. So I don't want to necessarily hide the join, but I do want to create some harmony with the shape. I think for me that throwing in two parts and joining allows for the exaggeration of the bulbous shape and a little more experimentation with the shape than I would be able to do if I was throwing a one-part moonjar. Also, making a moonjar in two parts will allow me to make larger moonjars. That's not to say that I don't want to experiment making moonjars in one piece. There's some advantages to that method as well. A more integrated shape maybe, and B, I could finish the rim when the pot is still wet. And then I flip the moonjar and give it a final trimming on the base. I fasten the moonjar upright. I want to refine the rim a little and gently smooth over the rim with my fingers and a sponge. And that's it. My moonjar is ready to dry and bisque fire. So I've bisque fired my moonjar and I've glazed the interior just by pouring glaze into the inside and pouring it back out. And now I'm just glazing the exterior. So I'm pouring glaze just onto the rim and allowing it to run down. I actually want a double layer around the top. So I let the first layer dry a little and then I pour a second layer of glaze around the rim and let it run down. So making these moonjars has been part of a bigger project for me. I think moonjars are a great exploration of form and I'm really keen to explore some more. I hope you find this video useful and stay tuned for further videos in my moonjar journey. As always, happy potting.